take a look at these images from Burning Man. The massive music and art festival has left a big impression in the culture since the first small festival on a San Francisco beach more than 30 years ago. What you might not know about Burning Man.
Imagine the best case scenario. So imagine we hit upon a design of superintelligent AI that has no safety concerns. We have the perfect design the first time around. It's as though we've been handed an oracle that behaves exactly as intended. Well, this machine would be the perfect labor-saving device. It can design the machine, that can build the machine, that can do any physical work, powered by sunlight, more or less for the cost of raw materials. Okay, so we're talking about the end of human drudgery.
So who will give us money or pay for things if we no longer work or raise taxes? Increasingly it's being suggested that a so-called universal income may be the answer, being paid not to work.
Today, suddenly universal basic income is a serious policy option. There's lots of experiments going on as to how it can be done, what effect does it have. It's moved much more into the mainstream, and that I think is a consequence of all the changes that we're seeing going on.
We're also talking about the end of most intellectual work. So what would apes like ourselves do in this circumstance? Well, we'd be free to play frisbee and give each other massages. Add some LSD and some questionable wardrobe choices, and the whole world could be like Burning Man.
The idea of a spontaneous city does seem an odd one, but that's exactly what turned up in the Nevada desert over the Labor Day weekend. A city with the curious name of Burning Man. Whatever you want to call it, city or festival or community or event, it's been going on over a decade, and for most of that time, word of each year's location has been quietly passed on the internet. In fact, some people believe Burning Man is the physical manifestation of the internet, a kaleidoscopic, no-holds-barred cultural experiment.
The thing that distinguishes Burning Man from most other events is that there is no audience. Everyone is part of the show.
What do you hope to communicate with the book?
It's subtitled Spirit and Soul at Burning Man. So rather than do the art of Burning Man or the fire at Burning Man, my focus was really those elements that move people to think about Burning Man as a transformational experience. I'm going there, I'm shedding the trappings of the urban world, and I'm going into a new realm.
Now, I suspect this seems far-fetched to many of you. I bet there are those of you who doubt that superintelligent AI is possible, much less inevitable. Right, but then you must find something wrong with one of the following assumptions, and there are only 3 of them.
Thousands of people doing the strangest things and getting along, and that in itself is cause for celebration. So we thought you might like to see up close what some people have called a proto-apocalyptic, hippie, neo-pagan freak fest.
By the end of the first 2 days, the feeling is running deep. Peace, happiness, and joy have descended on this improbable Garden of Eden. But deep in the nighttime shadows, a serpent is lurking. A lion is ready to pounce.
It was started by a guy from Oregon named Larry Harvey, and his brother Stuart has put together a new book chronicling the history, showing some of the hundreds of photos he's taken over the years of Burning Man. Stuart, take us back to how it all started.
In 1986, my brother called his friend, Jerry James, and said, let's build a figure and take it down to Baker Beach and burn it on solstice. And so they cobbled together this kind of a stick figure. It was about 8 foot tall, and it looks pretty rickety. Doused it with gasoline, which my brother later admitted was a bad idea.
Yeah, I would say.
Well, it's now iconic.
and set it on fire.
For 12 years, this 5-day alternative art festival has been steadily growing.
Wow, and it just took off from there.
Yes.
Obviously, it's grown in popularity. Thousands and thousands of people go each year.
Burning Man, a loosely organized, frenetic explosion of community, creativity, and chaos. And the chance to experience something they might not find anywhere else on Earth. And Sunday night, as the man finally burns, he could symbolize it all at once. The desperate rage against the sameness, the blandness, the consumer culture of everyday life, the hopeless futility of fighting it. Burning Man is built to be doomed, to explode and collapse in a moment of pure freedom that turns into a night of celebration with no thought whatsoever of what tomorrow may bring.
Superintelligent AI is possible, much less inevitable. Right? But then you must find something wrong with one of the following assumptions, and there are only 3 of them. Intelligence is a matter of information processing in physical systems. Actually, this is a little bit more than an assumption. But we have already built narrow intelligence into our machines, and many of these machines perform at a level of superhuman intelligence already. It's crucial to realize that the rate of progress doesn't matter. Any progress is enough to get us into the end zone. We don't need Moore's law to continue. We don't need exponential progress. We just need to keep going. The second assumption is that we will keep going. We will continue to improve our intelligent machines. And given the value of intelligence, intelligence is either the source of everything we value, or we need it to safeguard everything we value. It is our most valuable resource. So we want to do this. I mean, we have problems that we desperately need to solve. So we will do this if we can. The train is already out of the station, and there's no brake to pull. Finally, we don't stand on a peak of intelligence, or anywhere near it, likely. And this really is the crucial insight. This is what makes our situation so precarious. And this is what makes our intuitions about risk so unreliable. It seems overwhelmingly likely, however, that the spectrum of intelligence extends much further than we currently conceive. And if we build machines that are more intelligent than we are, they will very likely explore the spectrum in ways that we can't imagine and exceed us in ways that we can't imagine.
That is what this community is all about, they say, and with everyone's help, they are certain that man will rise like a phoenix from the ashes to burn again.
Oh, that's interesting. What an optimistic point of view.
Yeah.
Have you been, Felix?
I have not, no. Although this made me very curious. I think we should definitely be there this summer.
I don't know if I'm going to pull that off. It's a fascinating thing. And it really is. What's interesting to me is that the technology community here, at the very, very highest levels, people whose name I've promised not to say, but CEOs of some of the very biggest companies in all of Silicon Valley are both part of that rich man's row there at Burning Man, but really take this very seriously and feel like they're inspired by it.
Yeah, and it is a great thing. I mean, it's, the creative spirit, the art cars, you see what people build there, it's unbelievable. Some of the things that people are making out in the desert. And again, as long as, you're willing to share everything you build with everybody else, I think people are happy to have, the tech CEOs come out there. It's the, bringing sort of the, one person that was at this camp and found it distasteful was describing it to me as sort of like bringing an LA nightclub or a Las Vegas nightclub into the middle of Burning Man. And I think that's really what has pissed people off the most about this and made it into such a controversy is fine, welcome, come out to Burning Man, everyone's welcome, it's the spirit of inclusivity, but when you're there, you gotta be open to everybody, you gotta share everything.
But ask yourself, what would happen under our current economic and political order? Okay, it seems likely that we would witness a level of wealth inequality and unemployment that we have never seen before, absent a willingness to immediately put this new wealth to the service of all humanity. Okay, well, a few trillionaires could grace the covers of our business magazines while the rest of the world would be free to starve. And what would the Russians or the Chinese do if they heard that some company in Silicon Valley was about to deploy a superintelligent AI? This machine would be capable of waging war, right, whether terrestrial or cyber, with unprecedented power. Now, this is a winner-take-all scenario. To be 6 months ahead of the competition here is to be 500,000 years ahead at a minimum. Okay, so it seems that even mere rumors of this kind of breakthrough could cause our species to go berserk.